Hey, it's Michael, and today we're going to be talking about screens. We're going to build several different screens. We're going to add a few things to them. We're going to talk a little bit about navigation. We're going to play around with pop-ups just a little bit, and I think you're going to find this pretty helpful. So let's go ahead and start a new project. I'm going to call this MDB or XXX for your initials. This is going to be screens, and we'll call it Lab 3. All right, and let's go make a project. So we're going to rebuild the valve screen that we did last week, and we're going to use it a little bit. So let's go ahead and make that happen. I'm actually going to use a slightly different icon. We're going to make a pump icon. So I'm going to put a couple of rectangles out there. We'll duplicate that. And then we'll go with a circle. So this is our little pump icon. Depending on which order you put things on the screen, they're going to show up differently. I'm going to select my circle, and I'm going to move it to the back. Now, it won't make a lot of difference now, but let's go color these. So I want these to work off of, I'll go and make the push button, off of a push button. And our push button is still going to be called button 1. All right. So let me go to advanced. I'm going to fill that based on the tag button 1. And I want off to be green and on to be red. Okay, you'll notice that this rectangle is in front of everything else, and I want to move it to the back. I can select the rectangle, and I can go to move to back, move to front. And if I've got it selected, you can go all the way to the front, and that'll move it in front of all the objects. And this is all the way to the back. In our case, I'm going to send it all the way to the back. And there we go. There's a little pump icon. I'm going to move this around just a little bit. There, I like that better. There's our pump. And we could put a label on it if we wanted to. And let's call that pump. I made it transparent, so we don't have our gray background. And there we go. We've got our little pump. Let's test that, make sure it works. That looks great. All right, let's go add our sliders back in there. Let's change the slider type this time. Let's go sideways. Let's use an analog 1 tag. There we go. And let's go add our analog. Let's change it around a little bit as well. We'll go ahead and use the analog 1. Let's use a different style. Let's go with, let's change this to -100 first. And let's change this. I'm going to switch these. We'll use that. There we go. And let's add the opportunity to enter the value that we want. We'll go with numeric entry. This is going to be analog 1. Let's turn off the frame. There we go. And let's size these things so they're the same size. So I'm going to select both objects, and we can go up here to the top. We can make them the same size in both directions. Same height or the same width. We're just going to do the width. There we go. They're both the same width now. We're going to have to center them up. Let's center them based on the left-hand side. There we go. All right, so a slightly different layout. Let's make this into one object and put this down here. All right, there we go. There's our new window. Basically all the same controls, slightly different icon. All right, let's go make some new screens. So we're going to make a light screen. So we're going to go up to Add and click on New Screen. We're going to give this a name. We're going to call it Lights. We're going to change the background color to gray, and I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4. Click that one right there. And there's our gray lights window. We're going to add one button in the middle. So let's go add a button. And we're going to give it a tag name of button 2. Just so you know, these are terrible names. They don't tell you what this button actually does. As we get a little further into the program where the buttons do specific things, we'll give the buttons better names than just button 1, button 2. All right. There we go. We're going to make another screen. We're going to call it Alarm. We're going to give it a yellow background. There we go. We need a screen called Main. Gray background. And we're going to make one more called Pop-Up. And we'll make it a gray background as well. Okay, one of the things that you'll do in almost all your screens is you need to have some consistent type of navigation. So we're going to go to our main screen here. So I've double clicked on that. It took us to main. And you can tell by looking here, it said main screen. And we're going to go down to screen selector. And I'm going to drag that up on the screen. All right. We're going to keep this as our default. We're going to want the screen name. And I'm going to leave this set for 5 buttons, just so that you can see that what it's going to look like. We can change it later if we decide we need to. And you would, in your final application, you would set it to however many screens you actually wanted on this menu. I'm going to click OK. Let's spread this out just a little bit. You'll notice that this says screen 1. We're going to have to fix that here in a minute, but first we're going to add something else. We're going to go to screen change push buttons, and we're going to add a couple of those. So we're going to call this one next, and it's going to be the forward screen. Now we could have set this so it picked a specific screen, but in our case we want it to go forward. And then we're going to add one on the other side. We're going to call previous. And this one we're going to go to the previous screen. So I can see I've got 1, 2, 3. There are spaces on that side. I've got 1, 2, 3 spaces on that side. I'm going to select this and I'm going to expand it just a bit. Might as well take up the whole screen. I can select these objects. I can align those to the bottom. There we go. And I can space these so they're an equal distance on both sides. It looks like they're already pretty close. Yep. Okay, so we have our navigation set up. We are going to add a couple other objects. We want to put up there the time and date. So we're going to put a digital clock. And we don't want 24 hours. We'll keep the seconds. And we want the time and the date. Let's just keep that format. I'm going to shut off my frame type. Put that right there. And we're going to add some static text. And this is just going to be Michael's screen. I'll put Michael's HMI. There we go. Let's turn off the frame type there. Let's just make that transparent. I kind of like that look. All right, there we go. And turn off the frame. There we go. And we can also change the fonts to something else. I suggest that you stick with the same font throughout. Don't go adding something really fancy. You want to make it as easy as possible for the operator to control the screen, to find things. And sometimes having fancy fonts makes it more difficult. So I don't have any problem with going with just the default. We can change the size if we needed to. Again, try to keep things as consistent as possible. All right, so that's what we have right now. And I think we'll keep all this. Okay, you remember I said we've got screen 1 here we need to fix. So we're going to go back and fix that. So here's our screen 1. While we're in screen 1, we're going to go down here to edit. You're going to turn edit mode on. We're going to change this to valve 1. And we want to go to enable on the show background. We're going to click the down arrow and we want to go to main. So we have added our navigation to our valve window. And I'll turn edit off. Let's go to lights and let's do the same thing. We're going to edit on, enable, and main. Turn it back off. Go to the alarm window. Turn that on, enable. turn it back off. Okay, we don't really need this on the pop-up window, so we're not going to go ahead and do that right now. All right, let's run this and see if everything works. So here's what our screen looks like with our new navigation. We can turn the pump on and off. We can run our meter. I can put in a value and enter that, and it goes there. So everything's good there. There's the date and time. All right, let's go to lights. There's our lights window. You remember we added that and we just put the one button. Our alarm window, which is bright yellow. Our main, which had all our navigation, and there's our pop-up. And we didn't add any navigation to the pop-up window. I'm going to go back to the main. I'm going to go back down to our navigation bar. I'm going to double click that and we're going to go to screen. Now I don't want the pop-up to be on our navigation bar. I don't want to be able to get to it that way. So I'm going to uncheck, select all screens, and I'm going to go to pop-up, and I'm going to delete that. And we'll click OK. Now you'll notice that the pop-up is missing, but we kept the button. We decided we were going to have 5 buttons, and there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go to our lights window. So open up our lights window. Here's our button. We told it to use the tag button 2. Now what we're going to do is go down to our pop-up window frame down here. Drag that up. And we're going to tell it that it's going to pop up, that frame is, when it sees button 2. And it asks us which screen we're going to use. I'm not going to go by a screen number. I'm going to go by name. And I'm going to click pop-up. And we can change this to look a little bit differently. We can change the colors. But for right now, what I'm really concerned with is this modal windows. This will force this to always be on top. You will have to deal with the window, the pop-up window, before you can do anything else. It's going to lock us out of all our other controls. Let's change this background color to yellow. We'll do this. All right, so there's our pop-up window. Now, what does this pop-up window do? Well, the pop-up window, or the pop-up frame, I should say, actually lets you look at another screen. And we told to use pop-up. So I'm going to go to pop-up and I'll show you what it does. We are going to add a button. Let's use a different type of button. Oh, let's use a switch. So I've got the switch up here we're going to use. It's going to be called button 2. And yeah, we'll leave it just everything else the same. I'm going to put it up in this corner. Now let's go back and go to simulate. I'm going to go to our lights window. That's where we put our pop-up frame. And we've got our button. This is button 2. When I click it, our pop-up frame shows up, and you'll notice that the switch in our pop-up window shows up. Let me do something else. Let's add a little bit more text. All right, so I just told to turn the switch. We'll keep all the other defaults. I'm going to put that right there. And I'm going to go back up to my lights window. So there's my pop-up window. And by dragging this down, I can see more of what's on my pop-up screen. Let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to go to the lights window. There's my pop-up. Now you'll notice that clicking on anything else doesn't do anything at this point. So once this pop-up window pops up, we have to deal with what's in here. All control switches to this the way we've got it set. So I can turn this switch to off by clicking on it. That's going to turn my button to tag off, and it's going to close my pop-up window. And now I have control back on all of the other pieces here. I didn't talk about how the previous and next work. If I click next, we will move through our screens just like we progressed through them before, and this will take us backwards through our screens. All right, so lights on, I lose control. I've got to turn that tag off here. Now you might do this when something really important happens that you want the operator to have to deal with. This is usually going to be something emergency wise, or let's say that they're supposed to check readings every 10 minutes. And so you put a tag in there. That would be something the operator would have to go, click on that saying that they've taken the reading. All right, so that is our demonstration on screens. We're going to build that for our lab 3. And I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the lab.